The Arizona Cardinals will win the NFC West if these four things happen for them. Let's dive right into it. Roll that intro. What's going on, Arizona sports fan family? Appreciate you guys for stopping in. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and give one huge thanks to everybody that has, subscribed recently. All my old subscribers that have been viewing the videos that's been produced on this channel. Thanks to everybody. It's crazy to me that we are less than 100 away from hitting 9K. So absolutely nuts, right? Now, if you do want more Arizona Cardinals content, definitely consider subscribing, smacking that like button, and let's just dive right into the topic here, right? Let's talk about the NFC West. I think when you're asking anybody in the NFC West or a fan of the NFC West who's going to win the division, most people are going to say the Rams. Yes, they lost pieces, but they still are a very good team. Now, I do think that the Arizona Cardinals are in contention to possibly be that number one in the NFC West, but there's some things that we still need to work on. Now, me personally, I don't think we're going to be any lower than the number 2 seed. Now, the San Francisco 49er fans are super hyped up on Trey Lance. Whatever. I don't think they're going to be number 2. There's most likely going to be number 3, and then obviously Seahawks at number 4. But there's that kind of, that gray area of who's going to be number 1 and who's going to be number 2. Now, I do think that the Arizona Cardinals could potentially win the NFC West if we do these things. Now, my first point that I want to go ahead and talk about here in the list that the Arizona Cardinals need to do is Rondale Moore needs to be that X factor. I went ahead and made a video about this probably about a month ago now, being that who's going to be the biggest X factor for the Arizona Cardinals. And to me is Rondale Moore needs to shine to be that player that we all want him to become. Now, if you look at everybody else is pretty much established in the NFL, right? Now, we don't have DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games. We're all fully aware of that. AJ Green has already proven himself in the NFL. Marquise Hollywood Brown already has, had some years under his belt. Zach Ertz. And for the most part, the playmakers that are going to be starters for the Arizona Cardinals are going to be known and they're established. The big person that, obviously I want to be, taking that next step is Rondale Moore. If we can get that production from Rondale Moore, man, sky's the limit for this offense. It's going to be absolutely spectacular to see what is going to transpire on Sundays, Mondays, or Thursdays if Rondale Moore can give us that juice. Now, there's always the scarcity of can Rondale Moore stay healthy throughout the entirety of the season. Now, that's remained to be seen at this very moment. I really do hope that the Arizona Cardinals can bring in Greg Dortch, a part of the 53-man roster, and if need be, fill in the role of Rondale Moore. Now, like I said, we're not talking about injuries, but Rondale Moore does need to be that X factor for us for my point number 1. Now, my point number 2 is very, very important. Our offense needs to evolve. We've been an offense that's primarily been out of shotgun, and as of right now, we start off very hot and then we dwindle down towards the end of the season because what happens is defensive coordinators kind of start watching tape and they really start knowing how to defend the Arizona Cardinals. Now, we need to evolve from the shotgun primary offense that we are to start mixing things in like 12 personnel, start, implementing different things with the weapons that we have. Now, during this last preseason game that we ended up seeing against the Cincinnati Bengals, I have seen some different, formations out there. Now, granted, Kyler Murray wasn't out there, but I do fully expect that this Arizona Cardinal offense should be able to evolve. This is the 4th year of Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray, and I do have all the confidence in the world that we will probably at least, hopefully, see about 15 to 20% different types of formations because we have the weapons to go ahead and do that. We need to be able to accommodate to what our weapons can do. My point number 3 is going to be our edge rushers. Not just our edge rushers, but our young edge rushers. They need to show up. Now, granted, right now, I think Dennis Gardeck and Marcus Golden are probably going to be the primary edge rushers for the Arizona Cardinals unless something spectacular happens throughout the preseason. But there's one player that everybody's going to have to kind of keep their eye on. It was a draft pick from last year's draft class, and that is Victor Dimikici. And I apologize if I butchered his last name, but that's a player to watch. This last game, he ended up having 2 sacks. Now, granted, it was against number 2s and the third stringers, but I mean, hey, the production is there. If we can get that production from, Victor Dimukichi, I think anything is the sky's the limit for this defense. Now, one other player that I want to really talk about, obviously, we have other, edge rushers coming into the this year's draft with Cameron Thomas as well as Majay Sanders. If we can get the production out of those 3 young players, man, that would be absolutely amazing, because edge is still kind of one of those positions where I'm like, we need help, but hey, if we can still get the flashes during preseason, I'll feel a little bit more confident going into the season. Now, my point number 4 is going to be the Arizona Cardinals need to get cornerback help. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about this. I know that there is some, Cardinal fans out there that are very high, or not high, but they're very excited to see what these young cornerbacks can do. Now, I'm not in the game of stunting the growth of, these players. If they see flashes, if, the coaching staff believe in them, then that's completely fine. But I do think that we need a contingency plan. I think we need a backup plan in case something does work out towards the end of the season, right? Marco Wilson started off pretty decent, but then he ended up getting burnt toast like every single game. So cornerback has been a position that's been a thorn on our side for a very long time. Now, if the coaching staff wants to give the opportunities to these young, hungry players, then hey, I got no problem with that. But I do think that we still need to look out there and bring some veteran presence into this, cornerback group. As of right now, with Marco Wilson and Byron Murphy, the comfortability level going into the season is a little scarce. Now, hopefully, the good thing on our side right now is that we still do have, over 3 weeks before the season even starts. So there's still some time for the Arizona Cardinals to possibly pull the trigger and bring some veteran help coming into the 2022 season. But that's a huge, dire thing that the Arizona Cardinals need to do. Now, I'm going to give you another special one. If you made it this long, appreciate you. The 5th thing that the Arizona Cardinals need to do is Kyler Murray needs to stay healthy, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Kyler Murray has been hurt probably every single year that he's played in the NFL, and we need to have him in all 17 games. We are a dynamic team when Kyler Murray is in all cylinders go, and that's exactly what we want to see, right? We want to see that translate. We want to see that, evolution of the offense and what Kyler Murray can do with all these weapons that is coming his way. Zach Ertz, Hollywood Brown, whenever we get DeAndre Hopkins back, AJ Green, Rondale Moore, and that's just to name a few, right? We got some young ones coming up, in the trenches as well, so we'll have to kind of wait and see how they transpire. But let me know how you guys are feeling, guys. Do you think that the Arizona Cardinals have a possibility of winning the NFC West? Let me know in the comments below, everybody. As always, have a great rest of your day, and go Cards.